When news came out that Phaedra Parks was joining the cast of Married to Medicine, Bravo fans and fans alike rejoiced. They were happy. Some were happy, and there were some that, weren't too happy. But in my opinion, I was happy that she was joining the cast. However, her being on this show has been a complete and utter flop. Okay? And you better believe we're going to talk about it. Welcome back to Damien After Dark. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet, please click the subscribe button and turn on your post notifications. Also, click the thumbs up button right down there below this video and make sure you like the video because that helps me get in the algorithm so more people like yourself can find us here. Join the conversation as well because I'd love to hear what you guys think about Phaedra joining Married to Medicine and if you've been enjoying her on the show since we're halfway through the season now. Last but not least, if you would like to donate to the channel and support the Damien After Dark movement, in the description box below will be ways that you can donate using PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, and Zelle. I will also put my Amazon wish list there for those that choose to take that route. Thank you all for your donations and your love and support, okay? Let's get into this video. And I got the tea, baby. Because if y'all ready to spill some tea, my cup is literally, I got sweet tea in here. Not the sweet tea from Married to Medicine, but I got some good old-fashioned tea that we finna spill right now, okay? So, Phaedra Parks has not been on The Real Housewives in years, right? She was fired after season 9 when she, repeated this rumor that Kandi had a sex dungeon and Kandi was trying to lure Portia into this sex dungeon allegedly with her and Todd so they could do just a bunch of freaky deaky alleged shit that became toxic, became dark to where Bravo ultimately parted ways with Phaedra. They ultimately chose Kandi over Phaedra, right? And we know that over the years, when Real Housewives of Atlanta started to get stale and the show started to get boring, fans were saying, bring back Phaedra. Bring back Phaedra, right? But that was not going to happen because ultimately Kandi gave Bravo an ultimatum. Kandi, now some of y'all may be saying, well, Kandi didn't give Bravo an ultimatum, but she did. She may not have said that, but she did say on video when a reporter asked her, would you be willing to talk to Phaedra, be on the show with her, have a conversation with her? And Kandi said if Phaedra were to ever return to the Real Housewives of Atlanta, that she would leave the show. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, by definition, that sounds like an ultimatum, right? If you bring her back, I'm leaving. It's either me or her. So Bravo went with Kandi, and they kept Kandi around because they have more invested in Kandi, right? Kandi has more to offer. At least that's what they think. Because you got to think about it. Kandi's got a big family. She's got her family, Todd. She's got the Kandi Coded Clique. She's got the restaurant. She's got a lot of people around her. And when you have a lot of people and businesses and things like that around you, that's more content. That's story, right? So we can follow that. What does Phaedra really have? And now we can argue and say that Kandi's boring and she's not offering a lot to the show now. But we're speaking on, seasons ago. Fans have been asking for Phaedra for seasons. So, I'm not speaking on just now. I'm speaking over the last few years. So, all this demand for Phaedra led producers in Bravo to say, well, how can we get Phaedra back on TV so we can make some money off of her and give the fans what they want, right? That's when the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip comes into play. Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, just in short, was, for those who don't know, a spinoff of the Real Housewives where they took Real Housewives from different cities, Atlanta, New York, Potomac, Jersey, OC, and they put them on a girls trip together, right? So season 2, they brought Phaedra in and it did really well. The fans perceived it well. The fans liked it. The ratings were great. So they're like, okay, they wanted Phaedra back. We brought her back and now she's doing well in ratings. We need to bring her back full time to where she's on the viewers' screens every week. So how can we do that? We can't bring her back to Housewives of Atlanta because Kandi's there. Now, if it were me, I would have gotten rid of Kandi and brought Phaedra back. It just made more sense to bring her back to Real Housewives of Atlanta than it does Married to Medicine. But anyway, they decide to bring her back. they decide to bring her on to Married to Medicine. And I think they were thinking, oh, well, Married to Medicine is set in Atlanta. Phaedra and the Real Housewives of Atlanta, they've mingled with the Married to Medicine girls before. Some of them hang out. They see each other at parties. So this would make sense if we put the only show on Bravo that would have made sense to put Phaedra on would have been Married to Medicine, right? Some people were talking about putting her on Real Housewives of Dubai because she was on season 1 for like an episode or two. But that to me didn't make sense because 1, Phaedra doesn't live in Dubai. 2, it wouldn't be smart to move to Dubai just to be on the show because that's a really expensive move. And it just doesn't make sense, right? The only thing that made sense was Married to Medicine. And I think that they thought, oh, if Phaedra joins Married to Medicine, the ratings are going to even go up. However, if you look at the ratings for this season with Phaedra being on, the ratings have actually gone down. Not drastically, but they've gone down a little bit. They've either stayed the same during episodes or they've gone down some. So Phaedra really has not had an impact on this show. I think people may have tuned in episode 1, episode 2 to see what she would bring. But so far, she's brought nothing. Zero, zilch, nada to this show. Okay? Let's really talk about it. When it comes to Phaedra's storyline, her story, what's going on in her life, we see nothing on the show, right? I thought she was an attorney. I thought she was a mortician. I thought she had all these businesses going on. Can we not see any of that? Because we've yet to see anything. Well, I think on episode 1, we did see where she has like a showroom or something, but I don't even think that's hers. I think she's just a partner in it. And they didn't even really go into detail about the showroom. We didn't really see much. The girls just met there. We've also yet to see anything career-wise, her love life, what's going on with her children, really, family, anything. Phaedra's mom used to be on Housewives of Atlanta. Whatever happened to her? We haven't seen her anywhere. Where are her 2 kids, Mr. President and what was the other little boy's name? I can't think. The kids were adorable, but we might have saw a glimpse of them running through the house, but as far as how they're doing in school, what they're like being, we haven't seen none of it. Y'all know what I'm trying to get at. We haven't seen any of that, and I'm pretty sure they're damn near teenagers at this point. And where is Apollo? Hello, Apollo, get away from me with this. Where is Apollo? I'm sure they have to co-parent, right? It would be different if her and Apollo had no kids. You could say, why would Phaedra be talking to Apollo? That's her ex. But they have 2 children. They have no choice but to speak and co-parent. What's going on with that? Can we see that play out? I'm sure that, Phaedra has to interact with Apollo's new girlfriend, his new wife, whatever she is. How is that going? Does she talk to her? Is the wife with Apollo when he drops the kids off? There's so many things that we could explore here that we're not getting from Ms. Parks. Another thing that I thought was interesting was Dr. Heavenly does a YouTube show, and she did a recap of the episode with one of the episodes with Carlos King, and in the episode, Heavenly says one of the things that she wanted to know was, how is your relationship with the girls from the Real Housewives of Atlanta? Do you still talk to any of them? Do you talk to Kandi? What happened with that whole situation? And Heavenly says that Phaedra didn't want to talk about it. Heavenly says that Phaedra got upset, says we're not, this is not that kind of show. We're not talking about housewives over here. And Heavenly even says that Phaedra made a call to the Bravo execs or somebody in production, allegedly, and shut that shit down. And they never talked about it. So I'm like, is Phaedra really that powerful? I mean, it just doesn't make sense for Phaedra to call and say, I don't want to talk about this, because in the land of reality TV, unless you're like a Kardashian status to where you guys are running the show, producing the show, whatever, you don't have any say-so. I don't see how Phaedra would have say-so to say, I don't want to talk about this. We're on a reality show, Phaedra. Because that's the thing. In real life, Phaedra is a very private person. So the fact that she wants to do reality TV just kind of is bewildering to me, because you don't want to open up your real life. You don't want to talk about anything. She just wants to show up and cash her check. And that's not how it goes. That's not how it works. And I really wish that the producers would have held her more accountable this season. It really seems like that the producers and the cast have been coddling her and letting her skate by without any pressure, without showing anything, right? Now, to me, we're halfway through the season at this point. We're on episode 7, 8, 9, and her time on the show has been a complete flop. Like, why did y'all even spend all this money to bring her back? She could have been a friend of at this point. Phaedra should have been a friend of, honestly. I mean, and to be honest, she's shown us nothing other than that the rumors about her are true. The rumors that she's a dishonest and disloyal friend reads true to me watching this show. And I'll tell you why, because not only did we see what Phaedra did to Kandi, we saw what she did to Quad as well on the show. Phaedra joins the show as Quad's friend, and her and Quad are all, yes, hey Quad, oh my God, hey Phaedra, hey girl, how you doing? Watching the show, you would think that they were best friends that hung out. And here's the thing, I know that they weren't like besties hanging out, but even before Phaedra joined Married to Medicine, I saw pictures of them hanging out. You know, they would be seen at parties. They seemed cordial and they seemed like they really were friends. But the moment that Phaedra got this gig and she got this job and the girls turned on Quad, Phaedra said, oh, bitch, I'm turning on you too. I just got this job. I can't be iced out too. And she kicked Quad to the curb. We saw it, right? We saw it. Phaedra brought Quad to Sweet Tea's bachelorette party. The girls were upset that she did that. So Phaedra was like, oops, okay. She started distancing herself a little bit from Quad. And then when the girls invited Quad to Napa for Toya's wine club tasting, only to tell Quad, oh, we don't want you here. Get on a flight and go home because we don't have an emotional connection with you. They sent Quad packing, and her friend, Phaedra, sits there and says nothing. Not a word, nothing. Did not defend her one time. Left Quad on a sinking ship. Now, I don't care if me and Quad were not the best of friends. Maybe we only spoke once a week, once a month, whatever. Did you not have any compassion or a human heart to say, wait a minute, y'all, let's talk about this tomorrow. Let's not do this to this girl. Let's not send her packing back to Atlanta. We're going to invite her to California just to tell her to go back home? That was just nasty, right? So we've seen firsthand what Phaedra has done to her friends, Kandi and Quad. Now let's talk about Kandi, because the thing about Kandi and the whole, RAPE rumor, that the sex dungeon rumor that, Phaedra said or whatever, Phaedra's excuse has always been that, oh, a producer told me that. Oh, a producer told me that Portia had a sex dungeon in her house. Now, that producer that she's alleging was Carlos King. She claims that Carlos King, who created Love and Marriage, who was a producer on Housewives of Atlanta, y'all know Carlos. Phaedra claims that it was Carlos that told her this rumor. Now, do I believe it? No. I just don't. I've worked for Carlos. He seems like a really good guy. He's sweet, he's humble, he's kind. And let's just say he did, okay? Let's just say he did tell Phaedra this rumor, right? I know for a fact that when you're on these shows and say a producer asks you to say something or encourages you to ask a question, let's say I'm on a show and the producer comes to me and says, Damien, at dinner tonight, we want you to bring up so-and-so's infidelity at the table, right? If a producer asks me to do that, I have the choice and the option to say, no, I'm not doing that. I think there's this misconception that producers on these shows can tell you to do something and you have to do it or you lose your job. And that's just not true. You have the discretion and the ability to say, no, I don't want to do that. So the fact that Phaedra is using that as a scapegoat when it comes to that, it's just bullshit. Because even if Carlos did tell you that, Phaedra, all you had to do is say, Carlos, that's a little too far. I don't want to go there. And he would have said, okay, no problem. And I know that for a fact. I know that for a fact that that's how it would go. Because these people have got to protect themselves. We're talking about big conglomerates, NBC, Bravo, all these big industries. There's legal departments. There's things in place. Carlos ain't stupid. He ain't stupid. Come on now. So I just thought that excuse was bullshit when it came to Phaedra. I just think she should take responsibility when it comes to that. You repeated it and it was wrong, and people have moved on. But why I bring that up is because, as I've said before, Phaedra has been accused of being a liar, a fraud, disloyal, dishonest, and I believe it. And I think if you open your eyes and watch her on TV, you can clearly see that. When she's confronted about something, Phaedra uses those attorney tactics to where silence is golden. Just don't say anything. If you notice that anytime Phaedra is called out, she just doesn't say a word. She just sits there. And I guess I can't blame her there. I mean, silence, they say anytime you say something, it can be used against you. So maybe that's what she's doing. I don't know. But baby, the way she threw Quad away like molded bread on Married to Medicine, I see right through you, sis. I see right through you. Okay? Now, y'all want to get into the real tea about Miss Parks? Come close. Come close, because we finna talk a little bit of shit. Now, let's talk about Phaedra's alleged shady past, okay? That I 1000% believe, because Angela Stanton, let's show a picture of Angela Stanton. Now, some people may say, oh, Damien, Angela Stanton's this, Angela Stanton is that. She worked for Donald Trump. Angela was in prison for, some stuff that we'll get into in a second. She got out of prison. She served her time. Fast forward 15, 20 years down the road, Donald Trump becomes president and he pardons her. Because at the time, she's a felon. She's out of prison. She's a felon. But she's turned her life around and she's trying to make changes, right? She ends up working for Trump. Trump pardons her. So a lot of people do not take Angela Stanton serious, and they try to discredit her because of her affiliation with Trump. Now, I, on the other hand, I can be friends with you. I can talk to you. I can have conversation with you, whatever, no matter what your political affiliation is. I may not agree with you, but as long as you treat me with respect and love, we can talk about things. And here's the thing. Angela has told this story about her relationship and her past with Phaedra, Apollo, and Apollo's brother. She's told this story numerous times, numerous interviews. I've interviewed her before. You can go check that interview out. We talk about all the stuff with Phaedra's past. It's on my podcast. Just Google Damien After Dark podcast and you'll find that interview. Angela has told this story multiple times, and every time her story's been the same. I've always tried to find holes in her story. I've tried to see if she tells the story different, and she never does. And Angela wrote a book called Life of a Real Housewife, okay? Angela wrote this book called Life of a Real Housewife. She wrote it years ago, and she talked about her life and her past and, the fast life that she lived back in the 90s, before she had to go do prison time. And one of the things she talks about is how she was friends with Phaedra and Apollo. And keep in mind, Phaedra and Apollo were dating at this time. And she was also friends with Apollo's brother, Everett. Now, at this time, Phaedra was in law school. She was not yet an attorney, but she was in law school and she was working at Geico, the insurance company. Now, Angela alleges in her book that her, Phaedra, Apollo, and Everett were all friends. They were all running around. They were all doing things. And that they had this little scheme that they come up with. And Phaedra was allegedly stealing VIN numbers, vehicle VIN numbers from the Geico database that she worked at. She would steal these VIN numbers, allegedly, and then allegedly give them to Apollo, Everett, and Angela. They would take the VIN numbers and find the vehicle where it's located in the Geico database, steal the vehicle, allegedly, and then go sell it. Are you following me here? Okay. So then Angela says when it came time to pay the piper and the police got involved and they found out what was going on, Phaedra had crossed her T's, dotted her I's, and got all the blood off her hands. Conveniently, you know, she's in law school as well. Keep that in mind. So her being in law school, she's using this to her advantage, allegedly, to get out of this situation. So Phaedra made sure her hands were clean, and ultimately Angela, Everett, and Apollo all took the fall. Now, according to Angela, Phaedra had always told all three of them, if anything goes down, I got y'all. If anything goes down, I'm going to be an attorney. I know how to cover this, right? Y'all think that happened when time come to pay the piper? No. Angela says she ended up being charged. She ended up going to prison. She reached out to Phaedra, you know, prison phone calls. Phaedra, can you help me? Can you put money on my books? You know, whatever. Phaedra went silent. She never would answer the phone calls. She threw them away like trash. Well, she threw Angela away like trash. Let me say that. I'm not sure about Apollo and Everett, because we've seen that later on Apollo and Phaedra ended up getting married, having children, whatever. So Angela says while in prison, her mother got sick and passed away. At this time, she can't reach Phaedra or anything. However, she said Phaedra went to her mother's funeral. Phaedra went to Angela's dead mother's funeral while Angela was sitting in prison and went over her mother's body, pretending to grieve, pretending to give her condolences, saving face, trying to be that Southern belle in public. Well, hello there, everybody. I'm Phaedra Parks, and I'm a great person, and I'm here on Angela's behalf because I love Angela so much. And I just want everybody to know that I'm a picture-perfect angel. Whole time, Phaedra been allegedly committing fraud. Now, I know this was 20-plus years ago. It's been a long time since it happened. But it still doesn't make it right. It still doesn't negate the fact that that Phaedra Parks that was stealing VIN numbers allegedly at Geico years ago is still the same Phaedra Parks that we see on TV lying and dodging and throwing her friends up under the bus. And honestly, I think that the whole Kandi, RAPE rumor and all that and her getting fired from Bravo was karma. I feel like her karma has still yet to catch up with her. She might have caught some of her karma on Housewives, but I feel like it's still following her and it's still going to catch up with her. And all this is going to be exposed. And if you watch the Real Housewives of Atlanta reunions, if you're a faithful watcher, you may remember there's been 2 or 3 reunions where Phaedra was arguing with Kenya and she was arguing with Nene. 2 separate times, 2 separate reunions. And Kenya and Nene have both brought up Angela Stanton to Phaedra and told her, do you want me to bring up Angela Stanton and what you used to do in the past? Do I need to call Angela Stanton? So this is not a secret. The Housewives know about it. Quad knows about it. Quad did an interview with Carlos King recently that you can go check out. And she dropped Angela Stanton's name. She talks about how she had heard about that. The tea is hot. The tea is hot. I just wanted to talk about that because I think a lot of people don't know. I think a lot of people aren't privy to that information from Phaedra, and they let Phaedra smile and do this whole Southern Belle shady thing and think she's funny and cute. And, you know, don't get me wrong, Phaedra is entertaining and great for TV, but I see right through her. I saw right through her from the moment I saw her in the parking lot, you know, accepting cash, wads and wads of cash from her clients. Y'all also remember on Housewives of Atlanta when that person that Phaedra knew sent a bomb threat to her office? Y'all remember that? Somebody by the name of Drama sent a bomb threat to Phaedra's office. It aired on the show. Y'all remember that? Tell me how Angela, this is why I think Angela is credible. Before that season ever aired, Angela's book came out years before that. And in that book, Angela talks about why Angela talks about Phaedra and this Drama guy and how she screwed this Drama guy over. And then conveniently, a few years later, he's trying to bomb Phaedra's office. How does Angela know that Drama and Phaedra have issues? I would highly suggest y'all to go check out that book, Life of a Real Housewife. It's very interesting. And I would love to know what you guys think about this story. What do you think about Phaedra's alleged shady past? Do you believe it? And also, what do you think about her being on Married to Medicine? Do you think she's been a good fit, or do you think she was a flop? I want to hear from you. Join the conversation and get in the comment section below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, and like this video to help me get into the algorithm. If you would like to support the Damien After Dark movement and donate to the channel, every dollar and cent counts. In the description box below will be ways that you can donate using PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, and Zelle. I will also post my Amazon wish list for those that choose to take that route. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode, and we'll see you next time on Damien After Dark. See you.